Welcome everyone to February 2025, our first spiritual questions answered episode in 2025. All right, and the topic for tonight, is souls of babies. Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Ket, K-E-T. I'm the co-founder of CordyKet. All right, you can just Google us and you'll find information on us. Now, I get asked this question a lot about souls of babies and many questions related to this. So I thought that it would be good to do a talk on it and to educate people what happens with souls of babies, how they come by and everything. Okay, so when we talk about souls of babies, the first thing we need to talk about is the mother. All right, so of course, okay, just simple, right? The mother is pregnant, yeah, okay. Don't mind me. Okay, the mother is pregnant. All right, so the baby is inside here, yeah. Baby is inside the womb. A very simple drawing. Now, the first thing to talk about with regards to souls of babies is quite a few things. Yeah. One question is to be, all right, when does a baby or fetus get a soul? Yeah, this is a very common question that is asked. When does a baby or fetus get a soul? And people ask this because they want to know, especially right for the consideration of abortion. Usually, that is a major consideration. Now, first of all, I need to tell everyone. All right, so. Soul does not equate to consciousness, all right, or soul of baby is not equal to consciousness of baby. Okay, I had a talk before and talk about consciousness, yeah, and basically when you talk about consciousness, depending on how aware you are, a very basic consciousness, one will be consciousness that comes from the brain. Right? And brain is physical body based. All right, most people, we experience consciousness, awareness as due to our brain, and from the brain, the mind. Yeah, mind is an invisible aspect of the brain. Now there is the other form of consciousness, which is the soul. I actually addressed this, I think, in about what happens to consciousness when we die. There's an episode on that. Now, consciousness can also be the soul, but these two consciousness can be independent and can be kind of independent of one another. They are related, but they're not exactly the same. So I explained this, that you can actually, to experience the consciousness of the soul, you may have to do some meditation and so on and so forth. But of course, today we are trying to understand these things, souls of babies. And I would like to address this question because this question is asked a lot. Okay, this question is asked a lot by people, usually ladies or parents who have had abortions done. So they normally ask about this. Now, first of all, consciousness can be brain-based and soul-based. Okay, they are not the same. Now, consciousness of the brain of the baby, as far as we can tell, all right, this is based on at first, our own experience as parents, yeah, Cordelia and I, we have a child, right? And the parenting experience was very interesting because we get to experience the consciousness of the baby while while baby was still in Cordelia's womb. Okay, and there is two different consciousness. There can be consciousness that is brain-based, and there's consciousness that is soul-based. It is not the same. It is saying this applies whether to a fetus, unborn baby, or to people who are already born. So firstly, consciousness that is brain-based, it can be very simple consciousness that not long after the baby, before, I think, not long after 1 month old, there is some form of consciousness in the fetus already. Not long after 1 month old, I think between 1 month and 2 months, there was a very simple form of consciousness, right, in the baby. I don't know whether it's the same with all babies, but based on our experience, it clearly was there. All right, and we could try to, communicate with it. But that is a brain-based consciousness of the baby. All right, and this applies to everybody, born or unborn. Okay, consciousness can be brain-based and soul-based. So for baby, roughly before 2 months old, right, the baby as a physical being with brain, it will already have consciousness and awareness. All right. Now, the question we want to, a lot of people are waiting the answer for is, what about the soul? When does the soul enter the baby? Now, this question has no fixed answer. All right. When the soul enters the baby, all right. So this is when does a baby fetus get a soul? There is no fixed answer, because this will depend on when the soul of the baby choose to enter the baby. Okay, and the soul consciousness, which is energy form of consciousness, again is separate from the brain consciousness. The brain consciousness as a fetus is very, 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 very unaware. I mean, very, very simple, because it's a very simple life form, yeah, as a fetus. So when it first has some kind of awareness that it is a self, right, it's probably less than 2 months old. From what I remember, it's less than 2 months old. Okay, somewhere between first month and 2 months, the baby will gain some form of awareness, but very basic awareness, and that is the brain. Now, as to when the soul enters the baby, all right, when does the baby or fetus get a soul? This is the main question a lot of people would like to answer. There is no fixed time. Okay, now there are several considerations before the soul decides to enter the baby. All right, there are several considerations. Firstly, all right, the consideration would be, is the pregnancy stable? All right, before the soul decides to enter the baby's body, the soul will have to determine whether the pregnancy is stable. Now, let's talk earthly. Most people know that the first trimester, right, of pregnancy is actually the one where there's a highest risk of miscarriage. Yeah. So it will be the same for the souls. They will try to gauge how stable is the pregnancy, how stable is the baby, the unborn fetus, and if it's stable, then only the soul goes into the baby. Okay, generally it is like that. Why? Because if the soul goes inside the baby and the pregnancy is not stable, right, and something happened and then there is a miscarriage, then the soul, then there is a chance of, there's a chance of the soul being a lost soul. Yeah, I've talked about lost soul. That means the soul may not return to light. So, it may become a baby ghost. Yeah, so there is a chance of that happening. So usually the souls will make this consideration, is the pregnancy stable before they go into the baby's body. Yeah, but before that, there is already a consciousness that is coming from the brain. So this one is largely dependent on the stable pregnancy and on the decision of the soul. So for a lot of cases, if the unborn fetus, if the baby have not reached at least 2 months old, normally there is no soul in the baby in general, because the first 2 months is very risky, and then the first trimester is up to 3 months. Yeah, the first 3 months. But in general, the first 2 months is, the first month, of course, the earlier it is, the higher the risk, right? Until the third month. Then after the third month, it's generally more stable. So the first few months. So in general, the first 2 months, maybe the consciousness of the brain will come into play. So that it roughly comes after 1 month, usually before 2 months. But the consciousness of the soul, in general, they do not come in until after 2 months, because it's normally not stable. And if the pregnancy is not stable, the soul will wait, because they don't want the baby, if anything happens and then the baby will get lost, and it may become a ghost. Okay, usually this is what is happening. All right. So, and the moment the soul enters the baby, the consciousness can be different. All right. So for us, right, we can have a means of trying to communicate with the baby, while our unborn child. All right. So it is not the same speaking to consciousness of the baby, which is a brain-based consciousness, or speaking to the soul of the baby. Now, the soul of the baby, like those of you who know, the soul of the baby would have a lot more awareness. It's an energy form. Yeah, it's energy form. There'll be a lot more awareness, and it's not the same as the brain consciousness. Not quite the same. So it's a tricky thing for those people who can communicate with spirits and all that. So the soul is more of a spirit form. Yeah. So whereas the brain base is that of a physical being. Now, I hope this answers the main question that everyone have to ask, but I would like to talk more about other things. Now, so this is the main question everyone is here for, and you got answered. So if you think you got answered, you want to, if you want to leave the podcast, is okay. Now, what is actually more important, all right, for me, is this question, all right? The more important question is, what kind of soul the baby gets? Okay, Coral asked, what happens in stillbirths and miscarriages? Yes, so I will talk about that. Yeah. What happens in stillbirths and miscarriages in later months? Okay, maybe I shall just answer that question now. So first of all, we answer this question. Now, if all right, the unborn baby is with consciousness, and if there's no soul, is what it is. Now, a lot of people ask about, in general, it's related to miscarriages and abortions. Yeah. So if there is no soul, all right, and the baby just, something unfortunate happened, or something you don't quite want to happen, abortion or miscarriage happen, all right, then the baby dies, and there is no soul, and there's no chance of the baby's spirit becoming a ghost. Okay, there'll be no chance. If the soul haven't entered, all right, there'll be no chance for the baby spirit becoming a soul. Now, why is this important? Because this is I encounter this a lot in my work. I have many female clients, right? They approach me to find out whether do they have spirits of their unborn child or children that are tormenting them or disturbing them, or they want to find out whether, you know, the spirit of their unborn child, did it return to light or return to heaven. Yeah, so there are a lot of parents, especially mothers, who will feel guilt, right, of of performing abortion or miscarriages. So a lot of them will ask this question, and they want to know about the spirits. And there's also a different group of ladies that always ask me, because they get told by some other people that a lot of the troubles that they are facing, or spiritual disturbance that they are facing, may come from the spirits of their lost child. All right, so this is it's also to tackle this question: spiritual disturbances. All right, by baby spirits, baby or fetus spirits. This one question I always get asked. All right, or did they go to light? Right? Did baby soul, right, go to light? Whether it's after miscarriage, abortion, or some unfortunate incident, usually these are the type of questions that I get asked. So the most important thing is, does the baby fetus, the baby or the fetus, have a soul? And if the pregnancy is not stable, and generally before 2 months, very, very low chance of the baby getting a soul, right? If the baby doesn't have a soul, then you don't have to worry, did the baby soul go to light, and whether the spiritual disturbances that are caused by baby spirit or not. All right. So usually, people, they have this type of questions. This part of the cases, part of the questions that I encounter. All right. And usually, as I handle these type of cases, I find that when the abortion or miscarriage happened early enough, there is nothing to deal with. There's no baby soul that is left stranded, that it has become a ghost. All right, most of the cases, yeah, and they did not become some baby ghosts that are haunting them or troubling them. In general, no. So that's why I want to answer this question upfront. When does the baby fetus get a soul? There is no fixed answer for this. Most souls will come in only after the pregnancy is stable, which is generally after 2 months. It can be after 3 months. And some souls, like some souls are last minute souls. Some of us are very last minute when it comes to doing things, right? Some of the souls may come in late, like 5th month, 6th month. In general, they try to come in not too late, because when the soul comes in, there's a lot of the soul does a lot of work, all right, to help the baby, all right, for the character of the baby, the energy systems, invisible energy systems of the baby, the soul has to do the work. Okay. So what happens in stillbirths and miscarriages? So if there is no consciousness, no problem. No, if there's no soul, no problem. But there's still the consciousness of the baby as a human being, right? As a physical being with brain, all right? That one is like, if it dies, switch off, switch off is like you switch off the TV. Consciousness was there, and after it died, consciousness not there anymore. Just the way, like, some atheists believe what death would be like, right? Atheists don't believe in life after death. Life after death is only possible when there is a soul, right? The soul is the vehicle that carries the consciousness. You can refer to previous podcasts that talk about what happens to the consciousness when we die. Okay, that I talk about it. So if it's just the brain consciousness, when die, then it's like switching off a TV, or TV get broken, and then you can never switch on again. Okay, no more consciousness. The only consciousness that can go on and carry on is if there is a vehicle that can transcend physical death, and the vehicle will be the soul. Okay, that is explained in one of the previous episodes. So Stephanie is asking, are there karma consequences for abortions? Sorry if this is off-pick. If baby aborted later after soul entered. Yes, of course, there will be some karmic consequences. All right. Now, first immediate karmic consequence is firstly, all right, don't talk about the soul level karmic. Firstly, any parent who do abortion, part of them will regret it. Yes. And part of them will feel guilty about it. And for usually the pregnant mothers, it is very, very difficult if they have had some form of bonding with the unborn child and they could feel it growing inside them. And usually abortion is very tough because, for whatever reasons, private reasons, and that they can't keep the baby and the mother have to abort the baby. Usually it's done with a lot of guilt and reluctance. And this, the first karma, the consequence of performing such an action is guilt, and all that for the rest of the life. And I do meet some of these mothers, so they always come to me to have these type of questions answered. Yeah. As to karmic consequences at the soul level, yes, no. There's things such as soul planning. It was already agreed that the soul will become your child, but you made a decision. But free will, you made a decision that ended the life, so the soul couldn't fulfill the soul planning between you and the baby's soul, and there is some karmic consequence over there. But free will is always respected. Yeah, everyone has free will to do what you want to do. It's just that we have to face consequences. Whether it's an earthly consequence like you feeling guilty, regret, or a lot of what if in the mind, in the heart, yeah, over a deed like that, that is immediate earthly thing. And spiritual consequences of, karma and everything, that will also be separate. So some yes, it's not straightforward. Yeah, it's not straightforward, but definitely yes. Okay, so I hope I managed to answer this question. So if no soul, when the baby dies, then it just dies. It's just like I don't know whether you're like insects don't have souls, for example, right? If the ant dies, it's just like one moment it has consciousness, next moment it's gone. Okay, now I would like to go back. Once Evan is asking, once the soul entered, will the small baby can grow to larger kid like case of Kuomintang? You mean Kumantong? Now, the soul, the baby will, once the soul entered, then the body will grow and the soul will grow and learn through our experiences of the body too, right? It's just normal. Kumantong is a separate thing, all right? So I will talk a little bit about something like that. Oh, so and say once the baby died in fetus, okay, can it grow to a larger kid in like Kumantong? Generally, no. Okay, those Kumantong, and so we're going to talk a little bit about later. I will have to address this. All right, this talk. It's not just to answer this question; it's to answer a lot of things that do with souls of babies. Yeah. So, what we call whether in Southeast Asia, okay, those of you who don't know, we are based in Malaysia. All right, Malaysia is in Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, different cultures, they use baby spirits. All right, baby spirits to enslaved baby spirits. All right. Normally, it's not just enslaved; it's enslaved and corrupted. Baby spirits. Okay, I will deal with this topic later. First of all, we talk about this first, alright? So before all these things happen, what kind of soul does the baby get? Alright? The very simple question, the very simple answer to this is the baby gets similar soul as the mom. Does it make sense? Whatever soul the mother has, the baby will get. Now I'm just going to be very general. So for us, when we talk about all these souls and spirits, we have just a very simple classification. Okay? The classification is, firstly, is the soul of light, of goodness. Does it come from the source of light? Does it come from heaven or place of light or home of light? Alright? So light is to represent good. Or the second thing is non-light. Anything that is not of light, I just put non-light. I'm not going to put dark or, there can be more things. There are different kind of spirits that are out there in the world. Now, what kind of soul a baby gets is very important, depends on the mother. Okay? So if the mother has a soul of light, so red represents light, yeah? If the mother have a soul of light, alright, soul of light, of love, of goodness, then the baby will get a soul of light, of goodness. Make sense? If the mother, most people are supposed to have a soul of light, of goodness, yeah? But there may be some circumstances that people, they may get possessed, alright? Or some people go to the dark path, they practice dark arts, or they are victims of black magic and they get possessed and stuff like that. Then they will have a soul alright, I'm trying to make like evil spirit with horns and everything. If the mother is possessed and have a spirit of dark or some non-light, whatever non-light quality, the baby will also get a soul, a spirit that is not of light. Okay? Now this is very serious. Yeah, this is very serious. And this is something that is true. I still remember the first time I was introduced to this concept. I'm not sure whether I was introduced to this concept or after I know about this thing, after doing all this spiritual work and I know about this thing, I was, I remembered this very famous scary movie. Very famous scary movie that I have watched as a kid. You all know Omen? Have you all watched Omen before? Right? Omen, there's a series, Omen. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I still, I dare not rewatch it. I just remember it was very scary. Now, they talk about, something like the devil reincarnate and everything. But I can't remember whether it's part 3 or part 4. All right. After the demon or the devil, what it was trying to do, right, was it actually was aiming to possess a woman who was pregnant or possess a woman and then get someone to impregnate her, so that when she births a child, the child will start with a soul of darkness. And it's very different. A baby that has a soul of darkness from, let's say, in general, people, they are born with a soul of light and then they get corrupted or they somehow get possessed or everything. But at least when they were born of light, And the whole idea of the soul entering, a soul of light entering the baby, is a soul of light will do the energy systems and will try to impart goodness values into the baby from very young. All right, so actually there is something like that going on that normal people are not aware of. Heaven is working behind the scenes to make the world a better place. so if the baby is born with a soul of light, okay, if the baby is born with a soul of light and then something gets possessed, if the baby still is not so dark, because the foundation of the baby, of the person, started in the womb with goodness. Right? Started with goodness. Because the soul of light, okay, so now it depends on whether light or non-light, yeah? Light means goodness. And this will form the foundation of people. So a lot of people, no matter how bad they are, internally, deep down inside, if they were born with a soul of light, the deep down inside, they still want to be good somewhere, somehow. It's just the circumstances made them, not so positive anymore. But for one, whereby they are born with a soul of dark, it is not like that. It is not like that. And the only way it's possible is when the mother, right? The mother no longer has a soul of light when she delivers, or when she conceives. When she conceives and carry the miscarriage. So so everything will depend. If the mother was dark, all right, or was possessed before conception, and then he conceived and carry the whole term, it's all dark, then the baby will be born with a soul of dark, non-light, right? And that will have an impact on the character of the person. The person will not find it easy to be good and to be, internally good. The person will actually have internal darkness, because the evil spirit, the evil spirit will have a chance to mold the person from the time before the person was even born. It has serious implications. Now, Stephanie is asking why God allows baby with dark soul to give birth. It is not God allowed. It is the mother allowed. Or the mother did not take care, or humanity is not aware that this can happen. All right? In general, humanity is not aware. So now, how can we tell? How can we tell whether soul of light or non-light? Now, usually, God or heaven will try very much to increase the chances that babies, when they are born, will have a soul of light. Okay? Normally, they will fight very hard. So, how does it happen? So, in general, right? In general, when the mother has a soul of light and love, then the baby will have a soul of light and love. Now, what happens is, the moment the woman, the lady conceives, her protection, her aura, her energy of light will be double, at least double. This is what we experienced, and this is what we notice of other pregnant mothers. Have you noticed, have some of you noticed that some pregnant mothers, when they are pregnant, they're glowing? Yes? Have some of you noticed that? Right? They seem to glow and everything, yeah? Usually, all right, one thing, of course, is when they are healthy. Yeah, is when they are healthy and they can take it. Now, the other is the energetic effects, because the light of the aura of the person will get much stronger, and it's to protect and to make sure, right? To protect and to make sure that there is a very low chance of the evil spirit possessing the mother, and then if the mother gets possessed, then the child will be have a soul that is not of light. So heaven tries to make this, tries heaven, God, the divine, does this for humanity. But there are still some cases, all right, there will be still some unfortunate cases whereby due to free will, yeah. So a big problem is now heaven, the divine God, whatever you want to say, they ultimately they respect free will. The free will of the individual to do whatever they want to do, right, including to harm people, to harm themselves. So sometimes mothers, all right, when they are pregnant, they don't take care of themselves, or or they indulge in negativity. Sometimes it cannot be helped, yeah. Sometimes it cannot be helped. They indulge in negativity, all right, and they become very, very dark, right, and they may get possessed by evil spirits. So some mothers get depressed, or in very unfortunate cases, right, some people, they are victims of black magic or victims of demonic possession or something like that. Then the mother may become possessed and have a spirit or soul of a dark. Okay, so you can go. Okay, I draw a Pac-Man this time. All right, and then the baby will be born with a soul that is not of light. So one of the message I would like to get across here is, should you ever become a mother, or should you ever have a spouse, right, or one of you aiming to have a child, it is very important to take care of the ladies, the woman's emotional and mental well-being, and also the spiritual well-being. Okay, now how can we ensure or increase the chance of the mother to have a soul of light, such that the child will have a soul of light? Right, I think that's one of the questions that everybody will want to ask. So, so what we will recommend is, if you have a religious practice, a mainstream religious practice, not a cult, not a small sect, all right, that one I cannot guarantee. That one, because some cults or some sects, they are off path, they are not of light. But in general, the mainstream ones of the main religions, all the main religions on like Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, Taoism, Islam, all right. These are the main religions on earth. All the main religions on earth, they are generally of light, unless there are some deviant or sects or cults. Okay, so if you have a religion, I would highly recommend, right, that you go back to your religious spiritual practices. Or if you're Christian, go to the church more. If you're Muslim, go to the mosque and pray more. For Muslims, you need to do, rightfully they should be praying 5 times a day, so it would be good. Then the mother will have a soul of light. If the mother has a soul of light, then the child will have a soul of light. Do your religious duties. Okay, now if you are not, now not everybody have religion, and religion is getting out of fashion, yeah. Now if you don't have a religion, it's very, very important to at least be mindful of your mental and emotional well-being. Okay, so one thing that how to tell, someone was asking privately, yeah, how to tell whether the person is having a soul of light or not. One of the ways to tell is the mental and emotional states. Right, people who are possessed, right, whether they show the Hollywood symptoms of those very complete takeover trance-like kind of possession, right? Most people are not like that. There's just a non-light or evil spirit residing in them, or they have managed to enter the body. One of the ways to tell is their mental and emotional states. Yeah, mental and emotional states. So you need to watch your mental and emotional states. And I have explained to many people, all right, if you want your light to be strong, all right, so you want your light to be strong, there are a few things you can do. Okay, first thing I mentioned already, religious practices, religious, I put religious. Proper spiritual practices. Now, why do I put proper spiritual practices? Because there are all kinds of spiritual practices out there, and not all are really proper. All right. Now, what is very important is your values of goodness. If your values of goodness are strong, your light automatically becomes strong. If you do your religious practices and proper spiritual practices like meditation properly, all right, certain types of meditation especially, then your lights can be strong. Okay, and you work on values, being a good person and all kinds of related stuff, really becoming a good person. Now, you really want to talk about it. There's a prior podcast that I talked about that evil spirits can't touch truly good and positive people. Evil spirits can't touch truly good and positive people, if I remember it correctly. Then I'll talk about what does it take. Okay, I mean, ask, can I train a person to be able to see the dark energy of a person he sees in front of him or her? So Evan is asking an interesting question. Can I train a person to see the dark energy? Now, yes, you can. But a person who sees dark energy, he himself need to be closer to dark energy to see dark energy. So it is not what I recommend. Instead, I recommend people to learn how to see the light or to sense the light. Do you understand what I mean? For a person to be able to see dark and to be familiar with dark, the person have to practice dark. Understand? Most people who can see spirits that are dark, generally their own energies are not very light. They are not pure enough. This I know for sure. If you want to be able to detect, it is better to train a person to sense the light in people. And to train a person to sense the light in people, all right, the person needs to be good, to be familiar with light energies. That is a much better way. Sensing dark is not the way. That means you're going towards the dark path. Okay? So you want to have all this to make the light strong, right? You have this. Now, those of you who follow us, all right, we have non-religious practices that we teach people, right? You can say it's proper spiritual or energy practices, all right? Some energy practices that are good, good energy practices. So we teach people Unity Qigong, all right? You can Unity Qigong, light meditation, and also teach people non-attachment meditation. These are three practices that we teach online for free, donation basis. All right. In fact, tomorrow night I'll be teaching Unity Qigong. All right. These are energy practices, meditation. Right. The M represents meditation, light meditation, and non-attachment meditation that can help strengthen people's light. And we also have a simple Qigong, Unity Qigong, right, that can help strengthen people's light. And this is something that can help. Of course, not everybody will learn this. So in the old days, the traditional way is the religious practices. People will do prayers. They can do their own meditation, chanting, and so on. Yeah, or going to church, going to the mosque. Right, this is something that is very good, that is very important. Okay, so this is one of the points that I want to make. Okay, if you see someone who is a mother and who has become very negative, All right. If you know someone like that, or you someone that you could be your own spouse or whatever, then you need to help first of all manage the person's mental emotional states. Right now, a lot of times the mother's mental emotional state is not good because maybe uh, the spousal and marriage relationship undergoes stress during pregnancy. Yes, yeah. Then you will take both parties of the marriage or of the partnership to take care of each other, to help the mother, the would-be mother, to manage her mental and emotional states. And if possible, all right, try to go back to religious practices or properly practice proper spiritual practices, values of goodness. Be really kind, be really patient. All right, and usually people who are like that, if they start becoming negative, they also need someone to talk to. Yeah, that kind of thing. So all these things need to be managed. So need to manage the mental emotional states. This is very important. Okay. Now then we talk about the other side that Edwin was asking. Yeah. Now there are some cases whereby the baby spirits, if they die, all right, that means when the baby have already gotten a soul in the baby and it happen, miscarriage or abortion or stillbirth or something like that. Now there is a chance that the baby's soul does not return to light and the baby's soul become a what we call lost soul or a ghost. Now a baby's, an unborn baby knows next to nothing. Correct? A child knows very little. By unborn baby, can you imagine the knowledge about the world is even less? And usually, if they become a ghost, they are very, very vulnerable. Very, very vulnerable. And they will be taken advantage of by other evil spirits, demons, and human dark practitioners. All right. A big problem that I noticed in Southeast Asia is this human dark practitioners. What they like to do is they like to corrupt and enslave baby spirits or baby souls. This is very unfortunate. All right. And in 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 Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, they like to corrupt. So the baby soul is originally, now even assuming that the baby soul is of light, yeah. So a lot of people, even when they are born with a soul of light, when they die, they can become ghosts. Okay, and the same thing can happen for baby because they don't know better. They did not manage to return to light. Yeah, I've done videos on talking about this. Now, if the baby becomes a lost soul, it will be a lost soul, a ghost with very little knowledge about the world, and normally very fast they will be captured and enslaved by more powerful spirits, more powerful ghosts, more powerful demons, and human dark practitioners. Now, the demons and dark practitioners usually, all right, because the baby is quite pure, right? It's normally quite pure, right? But the baby is very innocent, doesn't know anything about the world at all, doesn't know about evil. Yeah, it will be captured, right? You know, like babies when they're born, they're so innocent, right? They don't know anything, and if there's a bad person, they can just kidnap or kill the baby or whatever. All kinds of bad things can happen. Now the same thing will happen if the baby dies and the baby's soul, right, somehow doesn't return to light. Then evil spirits can capture, and the powerful evil spirits like demons or usually the human dark practitioners, they will first of all, okay, very bad, this is very bad, they will corrupt the baby spirit. Because the baby spirit is of light, they will corrupt it with darkness, all right, and then they will enslave it. And this is very, very, very sad. Because now, it's very sad because the first time when I did this work, and we encounter all these enslaved, corrupted baby spirits. They come in many different names in Southeast Asia. Yeah. It's very sad because the corruption is an irreversible process. irreversible process. Once the baby's soul of light is corrupted, it cannot be reversed. It's like, if you have a raw egg, you cook it, it become a cooked egg. Can you reverse the process? It cannot be reversed. The same thing goes when baby spirits are corrupted and enslaved. Now, the slavery can be ended if, people like us, we can, those of you who know the work that we do, for example, some people's soul are captured by dark practitioners or demons, we can go and free. We can go, I can do something like that. But with the baby spirits, yes, we can rescue the corrupted baby spirit, but the baby spirit will already be corrupted. It will be a thing that is very nasty because it's corrupted and it cannot be reversible. It's very difficult to, I don't say it's from what I understand, it's impossible. And the only way is to try and rehabilitate it. But to rehabilitate it takes something like hundreds of years because it's already gone dark. So, and this is very sad. And I don't think any one of you, any one of us would want it happen to the soul of our babies. Cora is asking, why not automatically go to light or guided to light? Now, I have explained before, there are conditions that determine whether a person will go to light or not go to light. Now, the vast majority babies, when they die, they go to light. All right, but there may be cases, maybe the mother, after the mother may conceive with the mother may conceive with a soul of light, then the baby have a soul of light. Yes. Now, a typical example where this happens is mothers that go into postpartum depression. Postpartum depression, that means after they give birth, they enter depression. And then the mother lost the soul of light and get possessed. But the baby is of light. Then the mother will possess and the mother will so, right? So the mother will give birth, so no more. So, but the mother will be possessed, will have evil spirit. All right, then you have the baby. All right, so you have a small baby. The small baby will be of light. Yeah, the small baby will be of light. But because the mother or the parents or the home is surrounded by evil spirits, yeah, evil spirits or the ghosts, yeah, the baby may not be able to go back to light. And this is due to free will of the parents or something, or free will of somebody nasty who send black magic or send evil spirits to the victims. This can happen. So sometimes this can happen, or they go and pray to something that is not properly of the right path, not a mainstream religion. All right, you go to practice not a mainstream religion, and you practice, and then some cult or some sect, it can happen, something like that. Okay, so whatever it is, so some of these circumstances may happen, then the baby will not be able to go to light. This was mentioned in the previous video, but not specifically for babies. The reason why people go to light or don't go to light. Okay, now back to this topic. So the enslaved corrupted spirits is a very unfortunate thing. So so in Southeast Asia, they they do it, and they will enslave it to idols. They can enslave it to idols, and people pray to them. It's like a baby spirit, and then this sometimes once it's corrupted, yes, the baby spirit can grow very slowly. Yeah, but some of the corruption, the baby spirit does not really grow. Then it just becomes like a nasty evil spirit. Do you all know toyos? Also in Malaysia, you heard, in Southeast Asia, you may have heard the term toyo. All right, it is made from this process. Yeah, and the people who keep toyos, they normally, yes, like I say, the toyo can steal money. They raise a little thing, and this thing has the power to become spirit form, and from spirit can become physical form. So it can go, it is at the twilight zone kind of thing. It can go become physical and then disappear into spirit, become physical and disappear. So this thing can run around. There are people who keep it to steal people's money or steal people's things. So there's something like that, yeah, in Southeast Asia. And there are other people who bind it to dolls, to idols, and they tell people, oh, you pray to this, all right, and you try to help free the baby spirit inside. But I tell you, it cannot be done because the corruption is one way. All right, it's not to say I've not tried it before, but I've even asked heaven and the divine, and they say it cannot be done because it's like an egg that has been cooked already. Once the egg is cooked, you cannot uncook it. Yeah, the only way is to try and rehabilitate it, and that may take hundreds of years. I don't know. They say it will take a long, long time because the nature is already dark, and that is why. Okay, again, I want to remind everyone. One of the things we want to try and prevent is to prevent the baby from starting out with a dark soul, because then the nature of goodness is no more there. All right, I don't know how many of you have read, there are some stories of even toddlers, very, very nasty toddlers, 3 years old, 4 years old, maybe 2 years old. They have some nastiness in them already. It could be, all right, it could be because of something like this. That means before it was born, it may have already been possessed, or it started out with a dark soul, and that's why it doesn't have the inherent good nature that most babies or most people have. We have it because when we are born, we have a soul of light. Okay, with that, I concluded my sharing. Does any one of you have any questions? You can feel free to type. And if you don't mind appearing in our YouTube recording, you can switch on your mic and ask me directly. Any questions? Xiaofang say, having a neighbor son, a toddler, very, very violent. Yeah, maybe it's such a case. I don't know without actually, checking out on the case. But I'm just explaining, right, from our perspective, what I see on the field based on our experiences with clients and this type of matters, right? It's something that is cause for concern. Now, one more thing. So if a person is born with a dark soul, can something be done about it? The good news is yes. All right, the good news is yes. All right, people like us, we can do something about it. I don't know about other healers. This is very high level healing work, because we will have to take out, the person will be born and the energy systems will be not of light, maybe of a dark chakras and everything. It'll be a system that is of dark, and people like us, we will have to do a overhaul or change. You take a car, we have to take out all the engine internal parts, we have to take it out and then put in a good one that is of light. We can do that. Not many people can do that, but we can do that. It's possible. Most normal healers cannot do this, but if you want to know whether we can, yes, we can. If we find such a case, and I've done some cases like that, yes, I've done cases like that. There are two types of cases. So one type is the baby is born with a light system of light and then got possessed, and then the evil spirits, they try to change the energy systems into one that's not of light. But since the baby was born of light, it's actually easier to reverse, to heal. But if the baby is born of not light, then from before birth, the system is already in place with the physical system, and it's harder to change. But can it be done? Yes, it can. Okay. Let me say thanks, Kat. Happy Chinese New Year. Yes, Happy Chinese New Year. So if you are hearing that is a fireworks out there, it's night and still Chinese New Year, so there's some fireworks. Stephanie is asking, would the personality and destiny change when you do the overhaul? Yes. Yes. If we change out the soul and everything, the destiny and everything, then even the calculation of the date will change based on when the overhaul was done. Xiaofang asking what's the overhaul? No, overhaul is like overhaul is referring to people who know cars. When we overhaul, but actually it's more than overhaul. Is what I was referring is take out everything, the internals of the energy system, and replace it. Right? One that's not light, we take it out, and then we put a good one that's of light back inside. Okay, so that's what I was trying to describe. Cassandra is asking, when you say babies of not light, what are some character that is very obvious to see? So, like Sarah pointed, maybe, as a toddler, the child will have, violent tendencies that is not normal. If you've seen children, they're normally quite innocent. They have a good nature. If they are born with a soul of light, generally the nature is inherently good. It leans towards goodness. Yes, right? A lot of children are like that, right? Children, babies, toddlers, young children, young kids, they lean towards goodness, and we see those children and we're like, oh, so sweet, so cute, right? Because their energy and everything is so pure and all that. Yeah. But in general, it's quite rare, yeah. But there are different types of non-light. There are some that is like demonic. So demonic is really very easy, very obvious, because a child may be violent, super bad temper, violent tendencies to, I think one of the most disturbing news I ever read was a toddler that killed another toddler. Toddler at that kind of age, it's really, really, really wild. Of course, there's no pictures of what, but I would suspect maybe it's something like this. It's possible, but I cannot confirm. Okay. All right. Any questions before we end this session? So the message is important. Yeah, if you have someone who's going to get pregnant, manage the mental, emotional state. Do your proper religious, spiritual practices. If you want, you can learn our practices. All right, that's what we do. Seven say, wish I know you before I gave birth. No worries. Now you know me. It's all is good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. If you feel that you've benefited from this talk, you can make a donation to help support our online events. These online events are free and on donation basis, right? If you make a donation, you can help support us. Okay. If you can't afford it, then it's free. And no worries, you can get your friends and everything to attend our online sessions. And this recording will be posted up typically first of next month. All right, thank you everyone for joining me. If you're interested, tomorrow night, same time, I'll be conducting Unity Chico. If you're interested in how to maintain your light and energies positively. Okay, have a good day, good night, and goodbye. Thank you and welcome. Bye.